Hello, welcome back. Picanha steak. You heard me? Picanha steak. And this one I'm going to create in the oven. But before I start, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share. So, gonna wear. Let's create. Picanha steak. These are the picanha steaks. And about these are the local butcher in Fredericksburg, Virginia, from local cows. And the way they sell it is, here in the United States, picanha is how it's known in Brazil and in Portugal. But in the United States, we call it sirloin cap, C-A-P, sirloin cap. And this is a very delicious part of the meat. They say you the cap like that, ask them to cut it into steaks. You want to keep the fat. And this is very simple. Brazil has this too on earth, especially when you're grilling this in the fire. But if they said that you're dealing with the winter, snowing outside, you're dealing with cold weather, rainy weather, storms, and you want to do this in the kitchen, I'm going to show you how to do that. You just keep it simple. Get a little bit of oil. All you need is a little bit of oil and some salt. And I'm going to go with the Himalayan salt. The Himalayan salt, right? That's how I'm going to use a little bit of oil. Just a couple drops. And then you float it with this brush. Do the same on the other side. Just a little bit, because you're going to do this in the kitchen, not in the grill. Like I would love to do if the weather was fine. And you do this, you do it for all four of them. Not in the fat cap, but in the actual red meat. You put a little bit of Himalayan salt. Just a little bit, both sides. Well, I'm going to be generous. Why not, right? I'm going to be generous. You do that for all these steaks. I'm going to have 4. I had tomato skewers. I had 2 types. I had one that's flatter and wider, and one that's thinner. So this is the part of the art. You can use either. You can even use the wooden one, but make sure you have them in water so they don't burn. You can use the long wooden one. You're going to bend this into a C, like a C. And then what you're going to do, and this one is mine's are thick, I'm not messing around. You're going to run through the fat. You're going to run the skewers. Be careful you don't stab your hand. And because you want to have some control, I'm going to run 2. That's easier to control, see? So I have 2. Maybe the one would have been enough. See how beautiful? And what you do is you do the same. You might want to do a double. Like 2 pieces of meat in one skewer. So what you do the same. You run it. And let me move this back a little bit. Make sure you don't stab your hand. You do the same. It's like an art. Not really. this. And this is how they look, see? And you do the same for the other two. Now, if you want to put a little bit of paper, that's fine too. In fact, I'm going to put a little bit of paper. Why not, right? Why not? Just a little bit. Tiny, tiny bit. A touch. And if you want to add a little bit of garlic, just a little bit, this is optional too. You know, you want to add some taste to, you know, the picanha. So you got a grater, you grate them a tiny bit, you know, just a little bit. Grate them a little bit. You don't go crazy, just a tiny bit. See, run it there. Add that flavor. You know, make them sexy. Make them so sexy. Because you're cooking with your senses. You're cooking with the senses and you're cooking for your senses. You're doing both. You know what I mean? And people sometimes don't understand the importance of that. Sometimes people just cook to eat. And when you do that, you are mixing out. I mean, when you're cooking and you're cooking with the senses, you're cooking like for the gods and you're cooking for yourself. You train yourself like you are God in a way. Go with a little G, you know, because it's only one God. But you know what I mean. It is a pleasure. And garlic is one of those ingredients that tend to take meat to another level, or any food for that matter, to another level. So what I do here, and this is optional, I'm going to add a little bit of garlic, which I'm mincing, you know. And when you do that, you add in those flavors that otherwise you might have missed. You know, and I hope I get a lot of comments, and especially in the United States, people love their steaks, and sometimes people think that we're the only ones that cook steak in the United States, but they forget about, you know, places like South America, like Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, which they do have a lot of beef. People forget about Japan and other places, including in Europe, you know. Everybody had the ability and the art, you know, of cooking. They take this to an art. And the Brasileños take this to another level. Same with people from Uruguay and Argentina. They take it to another level. Here in the United States, sometimes we go to, you know, Brazilian restaurant, Argentinian restaurant, and we enjoy, you know, the ones that have the ability or have traveled to those countries, you know, like to Brazil, Argentina. We have had the chance. Anyhow, I'm ranting here, rambling, as I put this beautiful and tasty garlic to this meat. So I'm going to use a cast iron to put my skewers, and I'm going to flip them when I have to. But here's a challenge. If I do this in the oven, and this meat is going to be probably deep in a little bit, you might want to put this under an oven-friendly pan. You know what I mean? Because you don't want this going to the, you know, getting your oven dirty or whatever. Another thing is that this is going to be hot. That's why using two of this thing to allow you to flip them easier is very convenient. And you might have to need gloves, or you might need, you know, something like this that you can grab and flip around. You know what I mean? You grab and flip around using one of these. So I wanted to show you what is the logic behind this. So you might need a tray to put this on to manage the grease. So I have this in broil and I have it in high. And I'm going to watch this closely. And what I'm trying to do here, trying to imitate the fire situation. I have them in the fire, roasting or whatever. So I have to wash them, and I might be flipping them every 3 or so minutes, so imitate that situation of the fire. So maybe do it 4 minutes on one side, flip it 4 minutes, and continue doing that. But I have to watch closely and see what happens. It's been about 5 minutes. Time to flip this baby around. Maybe 6 minutes. Now I'm going to flip them. Oh, how beautiful, huh? Good the other side. It was 4 minutes on this side, so I'm going to turn it around again. And this time I do it a little bit slightly different because I want the fat section to get cooked a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can put both of them. So the top, the fat section, I have it for about 2 minutes like that, and that might be enough based on my observation. So it was about, due to the thickness, it was about 4, maybe 5 minutes on one side of this steak, of the picanha, turn it around, did about 3 minutes, 3 minutes and a half, then put the fat section facing up, like I have it here. For a couple minutes, I've been 3 minutes now. I'm going to move it out and take a close look to determine if it's cooked to my liking. See how beautiful those are? Oh yeah. Now I'm going to let it rest for 5 to 8 minutes.